Hi, everyone. Welcome to Antoinette and Friends. I'm just waiting for you guys to kind of find me again. We had several tech checks today. There you are. Hi. Ali Comedy in the house. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for signing on and joining. Well, welcome, you guys. Welcome to this strange new world that we find ourselves in. It's a kind of a strange time. I think we're all just sort of trying to find our footing and navigate. I was telling Gus, I feel like Ponce de Leon, you know, like an explorer. You know, it's like LA is starting to open up, and I find myself wondering, like, how is this all going to look? You know, I think we're all wondering that. And, you know, I'm like the most touchy-feely person there is in the world. And I'm like, how do we do this? You know, and I think it's going to be interesting waters to navigate. And I'm trying not to freak out. And I'm sure everybody's feeling the same way. You know, I hear talk about a vaccine, and I'm like, I don't want to have a first round of a vaccine. I don't want to have a first round of anything. I don't want to have a first round of a car. I don't want to have a first round of a phone. I don't want a virgin. It's like, you know, so it's like, I find myself having to keep calm, you know, and I can see some of the comments, and you guys feel the same way. I was just telling Gus, maybe what we can do is we can like pick 6 of our friends that have the best hygiene and like commit to them, you know? That could work. And Gus, you would be one of my 6 friends, right? So I think you need to start washing your hands a little bit more frequently. Hey guys, Gus, why don't you pop on? I want to just have a conversation with you quickly and tell everybody what we were going to talk about last time about what's happening at the canyon. Are you here? Hi, Ali. And we have our special guest standing by. I see her floating in as well. Here you are. Tammy Pescatelli. Hello, my darling. You guys, welcome to the show.
Can you see me?
Tammy, I see you. Hello, my girl.
Hi.
How are you?
It's so weird. I have to look at myself for a second, because have you noticed that you haven't even looked at yourself in the mirror during all this chaos? And for me, it's hag or drag. You know what I mean? Like I'm either in like a face full of makeup, or it's creepy. So.
It is, and it's a little hard to do all of the stuff that we rely so heavily on other people to do. I've been having my nails done since I'm 13. I swear to God, I just had to do them myself. I have newfound respect. Yeah,
see, I'm not girly enough, so that's the one really good thing about this for me. I don't have that. I never, you know, Twan, I never even knew how to flirt. Luca just stalked me. My husband just stalked me. That's the only reason I'm married. Like, I don't know how to do this kind of stuff. I'm not saying don't stalk me, okay? Because I'm done. I don't want anybody else.
How can I ask you a question? How long have you guys been together? And I wanted to talk a little bit about when you guys first met and when we first met, if that's okay, because you and I go back a really long time, and it's like you and I have a history, and then we haven't seen each other in a while. And when you said yes to coming on the show, I was like, oh my God, I have so many questions I want to ask you. I want to take you back to when you first started. I want to take you back to like
just don't ask me how much
when you were little. But I want to talk about
that's all.
What's that?
So just don't ask me how much weight I've gained during quarantine, and me and you are cool. Whatever, I'm down.
Yeah, no, I won't do that.
I don't even know. I don't look in the mirror or the scale. I just know that sweatpants are my best friend.
I don't have bottoms on. I just have tops on.
You look amazing. I don't know what kind of packs, what kind of painting you have in your attic that's getting old, but
I feel the same way about you, girl. I feel the same way about you. All right, so you ready to dig in a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. I didn't have therapy this week, so I'm down.
Well, I'm glad, because I know you had a lot of stuff about to drop just before this all happened, this shit show. And so maybe we could just start there. Like, how are you doing, and how are you feeling about what's happening, and what are you thinking about, how it's going to move forward? How about that?
Well, I'm a comedian. So I've been doing this is my 26th year in July, 26 years. And longevity is
Wow.
what works for me. It's the reason I've been able to stay alive and feed my family. So I know that you just got to hang on and get through the game. I was very lucky to drop that the Showtime special I was part of came out on Saturday. Then on whatever that was, March 14th.
Tell us the name of that.
Women of a certain age.
Okay.
And then I'm going to scoot up a little bit. And then on March 17th, my own special that was like my life bread that I bled for, way after school special. We went to my old high school. It was like a year in the making. I had to deal with the streaming service. Then they changed their mind. I had kids engaged in this because in 10th grade, my guidance counselor, I said, I want to be an actress. And she was like, oh, you're from here. No one from here has ever been on TV. Like, if you want to be on TV, you're going to have to rob a bank. And I was like, so I went back to my old high school, thinking, why go big when you can go home? It's
Right.
a lot harder to make people who know you and knew you before you had breasts laugh,
Right.
So
Right.
we went there. I got a whole bunch of kids to work alongside the professionals. Had that all go, like, not just my dream, their dream. Like, if someone could have shown me that was powerful to me to be able to bring that to those kids. And then I had this upset. That's why this quarantine doesn't mean anything to me the way it does to other people, because 2 years ago I had this crazy crack in my career where I lost my agent and my manager, my everything in a week. And
Really?
all based on backing someone up, industry stuff. And then I lost my deal for this special. So you just have to dig down. That's how it is. Like, if you believe in yourself, no matter whether it's a quarantine and I've gotten everything restored. It's been restored, God bless me, to the better. But you have to dig deep and figure out who you are. You know what I mean?
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. You're a very strong woman. And,
No, I know who I
really
am.
are.
Take me. I moved to Los Angeles a comedian. I left still a comedian. I didn't leave for any other reason but to take care of my son, because you can't pay someone enough to watch your kid.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
And I make my living on the road. I got to get on a plane regardless, unless finally someone on Nickelodeon or Disney will cast me as the mom. But that never seems to happen. It's always me and the person who gets the part,
Right, exactly. Talk about the role that you just got, and how did you get it, and tell us a little bit about the project, if you would.
Oh, it was a movie. It was my first lead in a film. I'm always, it's fun for me.
The best friend.
Right, because you know what?
Yeah.
And I love it. To
Me
be quite
too.
honest with you, I don't want to be a lead in a film. First of all, I can't dedicate myself to it, because I never believed that it just wasn't my goal at this stage of the game. Early on, of course, but I like being best friend. It's no pressure. You pop in, you're funny. You say the little things that points the main character.
Yeah, there's not a lot of pressure to it.
And you get out, everybody loves you, and the main character looks like an idiot. They came to me and they were like, we want you to play the love interest. And I was like, oh man. And I made the most ridiculous demands. They were shooting in Pittsburgh, which is like an hour from where I said, all right, but no more than 3 weeks in the summertime when my kid's off of school and there's no comedy, and I want the weekend off to do this. And they were like, okay.
Wow.
Okay. It was the best. And it's cute. It's just a little sweet love story.
I've seen a little bit of it, and you look super natural. And I was like, wow, that's like, it's not easy.
I cried on cue over and over and over. And for me, that was amazing, because I can deliver a joke. I can deliver the line. I can deliver the sarcasm. I can deliver all that. I can step back and let the main character shine. But to deep reach in and get that sadness, that was tough for a little bit. But it wasn't quite as tough, which is bothersome.
That's a pretty impressive thing. I I'd like to think I can cry on cue, but it's not easy to do that.
Oh,
And
it's there.
it feels so good. What?
You just have to think about it. Like, yeah, you know, it's truly, it's, here's the thing for me is I'm like, does my body know that this is fake? Like, am I going to wake up tomorrow with that, you know, that feeling that you have when you're just rot? And I truly was. I was just worked out, worked over. So I think that's you know, that's a muscle. It's just like stand up. I'm nervous now. What did I just tell you? 26 years that I've been in this industry and on stage, and I have never had more than 10 days off straight.
What?
So that's, yeah, no, I mean, I've always worked. I started in Cleveland where it was an improv, and then that guy owned a bunch of Funny Bones, and when I went to work, I went to work. I worked the first year, 36 weeks. Now, granted, I only made $7,000 or something like that, but it was, I always have worked.
Okay, so I have to ask you this question then.
Sure.
It's just like, how do you, okay, let's back up. When did you know that you were funny?
Well, I still don't.
That's not true.
No. The moment you think that you're completely funny is when you fail. For
Okay,
me.
I'll give you that. But like, you know what, as a kid where you kind of like, oh, you get that like reaction and then you go, oh,
yeah. I mean, but I never was funny. Like my husband is funny. I was the person that my brothers were bigger and stronger than me. And so I was physical with them because my father was a professional football player. I could throw the best spiral. Then they got stronger and faster. And then as they got, and I have 11 first cousins, all boys. So they could never outrun my mouth. And so I was the person that you would say something to me. I would come back to you. And then Tuesday, you'd come to me and go, do you really mean that? I'm like, I was just saying it. What do you? You know, when I say that I don't know that I'm funny, I know that what I deliver is funny, but you just need to know it. Here's what I know. When I get on stage, there is nobody like me. I don't know that I'm not saying I'm the greatest. I'm not saying that I'm a legend, but there is nobody like me because there is nobody like me in life. You are who you are, and I am who I am in this moment in my life than I have ever been.
I know. I got that from our pre-interview yesterday. You and I hadn't seen each other in a while, and it's like, it's really lovely, and it was very touching for me to be two women who've, you know, not seen each other in a while. We've traversed a lot of life, you know,
yes,
the kids and doing what we do, and you just seem really good with yourself and strong. And listen, not going through things, they're not easy things for us to go through. And you said something that really made me think about myself because we come from like a similar background. You said like you had to really undo that training that Italian Americans learn as kids, that we're always waiting for the shoe to drop. Everything is like a big fucking thing. Everything's an emergency. Everything is heightened. It's like, you know, we're in flight all the time.
It's a cultural thing. And what I was telling you before we had this is that was the first thing I did. You know, at the risk of repeating myself for you and I, but for everybody else, that was the first thing I did when I got SAG insurance, was go to therapy. And it wasn't for anything that was huge, but I have been almost incentivized, because whoever handles the emergency is the favorite in the Italian family for the moment. So you were incentivized to be the person that was there for the emergency, to spot the emergency, to see the traitor, because there's always some crazy freaking conspiracy going on. You know what I mean? Oh my God, she sat me next to the air conditioning at the wedding. She must not like me. You know, there's always some crazy offense.
And they don't talk for years because of that.
Well, she brought the cookies. You know I don't like the cookies. I don't like the cookie. I'm the one that making the cookies. Why she making the cookies? She say I don't like the cookies. But you shut up about the cookies. But it really, like, if you're not Italian, you don't understand that these become wars.
Yeah.
And I'm worrying about stuff, and it's more, and they're more serious than that too. Like, I come from a family, my mother had 3 different types of cancers before I was 14. Insane. Breast cancer, thyroid cancer, and ovarian cancer. So every other year, it seemed like she was going through this trauma from age 5 to 12. So I had my brothers, but we all were in different places. I went with my grandparents. So that's why I became a little bit more traditional with the Italian, because they were right from Italy. And, I think that those are the
How
kind of
long were
things.
you with them? How long did you stay with them?
Well, I go back and forth, but I was with them for a better part of like 4 years. Yeah, it was insane. I was accustomed to making things nice, you know? Let's just make it nice, make it nice, make it nice. And then I think in my 20s, I got on stage for whatever lack of attention. Like, I'm lucky that I had enough. I mean, now they don't slut shame, but I mean, for a better term, I should have been a stripper. That's why I made good friends. I was great friends with strippers because I understood their need for attention. I got on stage for attention. I got a microphone so people would listen to me because no one in my family listened to me. Like when the table's talking and everyone's yelling and you start, hey, I'm going to, and then they just talk right over you and they don't even care. So I think whatever that was, has long been satiated in me. And once I figured that out, then I knew who I was.
Okay, so then that got satiated in you, but you continued with it and you honed
Well,
your
I
craft.
love comedy and
And
comedy.
it's not easy to write comedy. So listen, I mean, you're a comedy writer. You write stand up and you write fucking funny shit. That's something that you honed over time. Did you have a knack for it in the beginning? Like,
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I always knew the basics of comedy. I studied.
instinctually.
Well, I loved stand up. I loved it. I didn't know that women could do it. Is that ridiculous? I had snuck Eddie Murphy tapes in the house, hid under sleeping bags to hear them. Loved Rodney Dangerfield. Watched Carol Burnett with my grandparents. All those things. But I didn't know that I could do it because I could never identify. There wasn't a woman who looked like us. There wasn't. They were all grown, and they were talking about their facelifts or their husbands, which is where I am now. That's exactly my career. But but I'm a young girl trying to figure it out, and I moved with my parents. My parents had moved when I went to, that guidance counselor really messed with my head. Like, she broke my confidence. So instead of going to school for theater, which I wanted to do, I went for fashion. And I'm a fashion design major and I have a 4-year degree.
Wow.
And
I know that.
my parents moved and I had broken up with a boyfriend. I went to hang out with them. You're 21, you're in a town, you don't know anyone. And they had a comedy club. And I thought, I'm going to go. This was in Davenport, Iowa. I knew nobody. I'm like, what am I doing? And I went to this comedy club. I go, I'll get a waitress. I'll be there for 3 months. Then I had an internship in New York. I'm like, I'll be here for 3 months.
Where,
I'll
at
make some money.
FIT? At FIT? Where did you have the internship?
No, I had an internship with Escada. So it was an amazing line. Yeah. And it turns out they gave all their employees stock options. So I'd have been retired a millionaire by the time I was 30. None of this huckling myself all over chuckle ports would have not have happened. But anyway, it was a comedy club. I thought, I'll watch some shows. I'll make some friends. I'll make some money waiting tables. A woman came through, and it was just complete ballsiness of me. I saw her. She was young, and I just said, I'm as funny as her. And on a dare with my brothers, I did an open mic. They hired me to do a morning radio show based off the open mic. I did the morning radio show I was a sidekick then. It became my show 2 years later. And I was house emceeing at night, and that was it. And then I went on the road. That's it. I don't know. Stayed in condos with rapists and all kinds of crazy stuff.
I know. I think to myself, the kinds of things you must have seen on the road at that time. And then you made a comment on one of the interviews I watched this morning, which made me sad, actually. But I didn't even realize to what degree we were talking about like that. Because you must have been a lot of just a very male-oriented reality, and then you're on the road, and then it's going to be kind of creepy. You're on the road alone. You're a woman, and then you were saying something about that. It's only now that they're putting women together on lineups, and I was just like, that's actually really true. You never see that until now,
No,
and
it was
I
a
wonder why
special
that
thing.
is. Why did
I
they?
don't know, even at the radio station, and they'll deny it. But I mean, I was a morning DJ. They called it Hot CHR, country, not country hits, Hot CHR. I forgot what that stands for. Hits radio, a contemporary hits radio, and they wouldn't put two women together. You couldn't have Mariah Carey and Nina Cherry. Couldn't have them back to back. It just was the time.
Because people don't want to see two women, or because they thought
Yeah, that was the time.
Yeah.
There was such inbred misogyny that this young generation, I'm so proud of them, and these girls are doing what they don't even know. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't go to comedy clubs if I wanted to work. Besides the fact that you had to have 2 VCRs, forget about that.
Right.
You had to dub your tape. That was the whole thing. And getting headshots was like literally a 2-month process.
It was. Then you had to get them touched up, and they touched up the actual picture.
Forget it. But so we literally would have to go to these condos. So they call them condos, so it sounds nice, but it's an apartment, and it had 3 rooms for the MC, the feature, and the headliner. And that's how it worked on the road. And I was a young girl, and so I'd have to go stay in these condos with these men that I didn't know. And then obviously ultimately became my friends. So then it became easier. But at first, like, it took a strong man to date me, because they used to have to call, like, by the way, bag phone for $17 a minute.
Right.
And they'd have to call the condo and then ask one guy to ask the other guy where the girlfriend was.
Right.
So that was a mess too.
Right. I think, I don't know if this is the case for you, but like, people always ask like about the casting couch. And for me, like, I don't know why, but I was just never one of those women that I think I was too much work, you know? And so I was strong, and they could sense that, you know? So I'm not saying that it wasn't difficult, but it wasn't, I never was put in a situation, thankfully. I'm very grateful for that, you know?
I agree. I think that for sure it was plus I don't know if anybody, they might have wanted to, but if they saw this nose from the side, they changed their mind. I also think that for me, there were situations, but I had a different, not everybody has what we have. I just had the wherewithal to go, it's not happening.
Right.
And,
Sure.
you know, I mean,
Sure.
maybe I should have, so I'd had a better career on some, maybe I didn't even know how to, maybe I should have dated different people and whatever, but I was dumb enough too at another point in my life where I thought, you know, I made a very conscious decision. Now, my husband was an actor and a comedian, and I met him in a separate way through the comedy show, but when I was on the road, I decided not to date comics. Because because growing up with boys, I thought, I don't want anybody to ever say, she made it because she did this, this, and this. Mm-hmm. Because this was an anomaly, being a female comic. I was a young girl. I would wear 2 bras so my breasts wouldn't show on stage. I wore what I called the lesbian comedian uniform, with the T-shirt and the vest and the jacket. Remember that of the day with my hair and the big old, look at this, I didn't even have it blown out, but because of course not, because you can't. So it was a different time, and then I made those decisions, and I think that got around, and I don't know, it's blessing, and I think it's wherewithal, and I probably always knew who I was, you know, not to go back to that, but I didn't always have the confidence to shout it from the rooftops.
But you kind of did a good impression of that. Like, you kind of knew who you were enough to come across like that.
Well, I physically had to worry about my safety too, by the way. Like, on the road, some of these condos didn't have locks. Some of them, you know, I mean, literally, you didn't have a key. I'd have to sleep with a fork. I mean, it looked like I had a murder kit, because I had like bleach to throw at people, and, you know, it was crazy.
I love it.
Yeah, I once stayed in a condo with a guy that was arrested a week later for being one of the most prolific serial rapists in the country.
Really?
And I stayed with him the night before I had stayed with him one of the nights that he was arrested, but I didn't know him. I met him in passing, because that's how it was. They were like hostels for comedians. And the next week, the FBI came and questioned me. I was in Kansas City, and they were like, we just picked up, you can look it up, and it's a guy named Vince Champ. He was arrested. It's public knowledge. We're not you know.
Yeah, divulging anything. How did your
Yeah.
parents feel about this
Well, they were
situation?
petrified for me at first, but then they knew who I was too, by the way.
Right.
So, listen, you might get me, but you better really get me.
Yeah.
Because if I got a breath in my body, what's going to be over, you know?
I don't even want to bring that up, but I totally concur. Like, if you come into my path and you want to do me harm, you know, I was attacked and I fought back. I fought back, and
Yeah.
thankfully, you know, but it was my mind that got me out of it. It was my mind and my strength and my will and my strength. It was like,
That's it.
I was more than he, you know, could handle. And thankfully nothing happened, but
That's what happened. Well, here I am staying in this condo with this guy, but he didn't bother me. But that night he went and raped someone else. So that has always haunted me, because that I had I didn't know him.
That's horrible.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. It's hard for people to understand, but I'll just briefly explain it. You would finish your show on a Sunday. Comedy runs were Tuesday through Sundays at a city. Then you'd move on to another city. This is the late 90s. Sometimes comics would pass in the condo. So you might not know, the person who was staying would stay over day. If I was in Des Moines and I'm going to Kansas City, why would I fly back to Cleveland? So I stayed an extra day. He was coming in a day early, or that night. I think he had a show that night at a college and he raped a girl. Came back and stayed at the condo with me. Now, I didn't see him. I don't know anything. I woke up the next morning. I left. I never saw the man again. But to know that you were that close to it, really, I think that was one of the things that shook me. I think I owe that girl so much gratitude for my safety, because then I began to watch everything, which also helped make me a better comic, because I watch everything in the room.
Oh, I was going to actually ask you, one of the questions we have that was sent to me was, how do you observe situations and create comedy, or can you create comedy just by your imagination of what you create? That was one of the questions. Like,
well, that's a good one. A little bit of both, but mostly I'm an observationist. Like, I have to live the story. Like, my story sometimes, it's always me. It just may be a little bit more exaggerated, you know, but yeah, I watch it all the time. That's also what kind of, like, it's a surprising thing in this day and age that the biggest amount of hecklers you will still get at a live show come from women. That whole thing of women supporting other women goes out the window sometimes when a woman gets drunk and doesn't get enough attention.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep. I can't, you need therapy, not comedy, man. I'd love to help you. I'm going to support you as a woman and ask you to leave, because if you stay, I'm going to annihilate you.
Right.
Because my mortgage is predicated on this.
Right.
Like, you can't trick people, you know, like, you have to give them the show that they paid for, especially in this day and age, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, on that note, like, what's the worst situation you ever encountered on stage?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I had a billion. I had a woman that literally threw not just like a glass of wine on me, like Desperate Housewives style. She threw the whole glass, and it shattered behind me, and then sat down as if to say, "Continue." And that was horrible, because that's when that became a big news story, because the cops in Jacksonville, Florida, came down to arrest her. That's where it was. And then a sergeant came and let her go and said to me, "Well, were you drinking?" And I said, No, I was performing. I'm an entertainer." And he's like, "Well, what did you say to provoke her?" I was like, wait a second, like this. And then I had to fight it, because, as I told you, I started in Cleveland, and the gentleman who owns all those clubs, I was talking to him about it that night, and he said, "You have to fight it, because if someone gets hurt, then who's liable for that? We're all liable if that glass would hit another patron." So we tried to fight it, but they didn't want to hear it from me until it became a big news story. You know, they said to me, "Well, shouldn't you expect this at your job?"
Yeah.
I'm like, no, this is a play. They might be serving alcohol, but this is not. And no, at Macy's they don't throw perfume at you. They don't chuck a bottle in and go, "Hey, you should expect that." So. Yeah,
it's really distressing when you don't have the support. When I went down to the precinct, the guy who interviewed me at the precinct was trying to make me feel like I had something to do with the fact that this guy came into my house and tried to rape me. And it was really devastating. I was like 20, 22 years old. And, it was heartbreaking. And I remember saying to this guy, what if I was your daughter? I remember he was an Italian, like detective at the precinct. And he was trying to make me feel that I lured him up to my house and wanted him to, yeah, it was, and I was like, shame on you. And I was strong enough and smart enough to say that to him. And he took it in. I was like, if I was your daughter or your wife, would you be talking to me this way? Like, I don't know. And then I had to go through the whole mug shots. At the time they were in these like, flashcards, and there were pictures on it. And I went through it and I couldn't identify him. And he had respect for me after that, because it was such a shocking thing. Like,
yeah,
I can remember some of it, but I don't remember his face. And when I didn't just pull somebody out of that stack, he was like, okay, because a lot of people, I guess, just want to, blame somebody. And I didn't do that. I just couldn't be sure. I wasn't going to, nail somebody.
It's saying the level. That's something else that I had to really put down, talk about being Italian. Respect. It was crazy. There was times in my life where I had the biggest chip on my shoulder because I felt like, you're not respectful of me. You're not respecting me. These people don't respect me. I've made some bad business decisions because I felt that people respected me. And truly, They obviously didn't. They just knew how to put on a good show.
Right.
I loved living in LA, and I feel like in my time there, I did well because I stayed in the comedy world. But I had a hard time when I delved out of it in all those, hey, let's take a meeting. And then I realized their meetings were for nothing. Like, what do you mean? If I'm having a meeting with you, we're supposed to do something. Like, you just want to have a meeting? You mean you want to have lunch? Say, let's have lunch. But don't say we'll have a meeting. I thought we were doing something here.
Right.
I had so many almost happens in these silly,
I know.
And I've also had people, I'll tell you, I blew one of the biggest deals of my life. I was at HBO. I had amazing management, as you probably remember. When I
do. I remember.
There. I had amazing management. And they had Robin Williams and Billy Crystal, and HBO was in bed with them because they were doing the comic relief, and HBO was doing 10 half-hour comedy specials, and they were trying to develop. And I had just gotten out of a development deal with NBC, so I was at a good place. And I'm sitting in the room and with my two heavy hitter managers. They're just amazing. Larry Bresner, David Steinberg. They're just amazing guys. And I love to make them laugh. And they literally were sitting, it's the head of HBO. It's his assistant, 4 assistants behind them. They're showing me respect, right? They all stopped their workday to come in and show me this respect. And it's like, it's going great. And literally, I'm having the best time. And I'm so comfortable that I'm not, the head of the network puts his feet up on the couch with his head behind, and he says to me, all right, so this is going to work. What do you want from us? What do you need from us? And the boys go, well, they go, well, we'll have the lawyers work it out. And I go, well, I need something. And they were like, what? Shut up. And I go, I need to know what lost to those socks. Those are the ugliest socks I've ever. What socks did you reach over in the drawer to pick those socks? And everybody was in hysterics, crying, bawling. I'm like, woo, but him. And he literally got arrested the next week for hitting his girlfriend and lost his job and everything. But I blew it. I blew it right there because I didn't know how to. I should have played to his strengths a little bit more. I mean, of course, maybe I wouldn't have wanted to be part of that at that time.
Probably not. Probably not. It can be quite devastating when you think people have your back, and you find out that they don't, or you find out that people are full of shit, which runs rampant in our business in this town. And how do you keep optimistic? How do you keep light?
Well, you work around them. Like, I'm not dulling myself down for anybody else. I used to dull myself down to make people feel better about themselves, and I don't mean it in a bad way. Like, I will help. I'm too loyal of a friend. That's how I ended up losing my agent and my all that stuff during that time, supporting friends. But you have to know who you are enough to not dull yourself down to make someone else feel better about their shine. Pull them up into your shine, work them into it if you have to. But I used to make myself less than, and a lot of women do that. A lot of women do it in their
Yeah, I
relationship.
mean, you're getting all like sensitive right now because I think women do that.
Always.
We just shape shift and morph and
when do you get to be you? And I'm like, when do I get to, even if it's not about, I don't have to have millions of followers. I need to shine so I can make eye contact with myself.
How about when do I get to even learn to discover who that is? Because so many women are walking around and I always say this, it's like we're walking around, not to get all like me too, but like we're walking around knowing that there's a piece of us that's missing, but we don't even know, we feel it's missing. We don't even know what that is because we never really had the chance to discover that. And it's part of the conditioning of who, as women, we're taught, you get older, then you find a partner and, you find the one and, you start to live yourself. I don't even know what that means. The one to do what?
Right.
For what?
My son is here. My son is hiding up. You don't want to hear this.
I want to see Luca James. Bring him on.
Come say hello. Want to say hi real quick?
Please.
No.
Say hi to Brooklyn. Brooklyn's in the house.
This is Mommy Daddy's very good friend, Twan, and everybody.
Hi, Luca James.
He looks like Nikki.
Yeah, he does. I saw it. We sent a picture, and Nikki was like, "Who is that? That looks like me." I was like, "No."
Well, he was born with a mustache. All Italian babies look alike. Me too. I think for me, I get on stage, of course, to pay my mortgage, of course, to take care of my family, of course. But I think now it comes to such a greater purpose because, I've done the USO tours. I've done the most humbling things. I think people just are looking, it's like such a gift that they're saying, here, could you please give me an hour reprieve? Let me laugh. And I feel like, I know that really kind of, I'm not idealizing it, but I'm telling you that that's the truth. They want to laugh. They're not there. Some of them are there for attention, and that's why the crazy lady who's too old to strip, I got to stop her in her tracks for everybody else. But people need a reprieve, and it's not, I don't talk politics. I don't talk any of that kind of stuff. I'm just saying that they laugh at me for a while. I'll laugh with you. That's one thing. If you figure out who you are, as I keep saying this, but I say it over and over because it's important, and I feel like that's my message on stage.
I think so too. Yes.
That's what I'm trying so hard to reach out, because I think I see a lot of young girls falling into this trap, even when they're on stage, of other people and not knowing who they are, and they're all talking about the same thing, or maybe they aren't. I don't know, maybe that's for them, and everybody has to find their path. But I think that, like, when I would have these deals, they would always do these focus groups. And no matter what I would do in focus groups, I was always blessed with like a 95% approval rating, likability. People like me. And you have to understand that when someone likes you, you have a responsibility to keep that, So I found a way to target that, stay friends with them. Like, it's no longer, these aren't my fans. We're friends. We're all working together at the same time. I'm trying, my struggles. I'll talk to you about it throughout my jokes, show you. That's why my last special was Finding the Funny, because bad stuff was happening and I had to figure out how to make it funny.
So great.
And you just, as they journey through this with you, people, and I will tell you this, and we talk 10, 20 years ago, I'd have had a huge show by now. There'd have been a huge show. I'm not in LA anymore. No one's really looking for a 50-year-old woman to do it. But you know what? I'll give you that huge show in 200 people or less. Now they'll be separated. Thank you. Somebody said, I miss your TV show. I did have a little TV show for a while in my house. It was too hard. I'll tell you that. That was a reality show that literally was based on being a wife, a mother, and a comedian. And literally, I was a wife, a mother, and a comedian. My son would go to bed. My kid would go to bed. The crew would leave the house, and then I'd be up till 2 o'clock in the morning cleaning the house because I am Italian and I didn't want to look like a big Scot suit, not having all my stuff all over the place. Then they'd get off, the crew would stop for the weekend, and I'd get on a plane and go to work, and then I'd roll back in on Sunday. The crew would be waiting here. They go, here's the baby. And I'm like, oh my God, I need a break.
You're getting so many comments saying we missed that show.
Aw, thank
That was
you.
really, really funny. And when Rose came on,
She was great, wasn't she?
just great. I watch it
She was
sometimes just
phenomenal.
to like feel connected again because Rose and my mother are from the
Yes,
same place in
we love
Italy.
her.
I mean, really unbelievable.
And it's who they are. That's people go, you would make, they go, your mother-in-law is really not like, no, that's who she was. But will you know that thing bonded us? Because I don't think she understood what I was doing. I think she thought, I don't know what she thought. Like I was going on
Nobody can
vacation,
really understand what we do. They don't get it. She doesn't get it, and yeah. And
but it really bonded us because she saw how hard I worked. Like that was my brainchild. I'm with my partner Carla. We marched that from network to network, and fought until I could be the EP, and so I'm like, how can I not be an executive producer? That's what they will do to a woman. They will let you not be the executive producer of your own show sometimes. I created it. It's based on my life, my family, my kids. Oh, how come you guys don't have an EP credit in the first? It's so stupid. What is this person saying?
I mean, so many comments are flying in. You can't even imagine.
I have a question. I've been writing for years and got serious the last few years about the 80s, which was a different time. How should I reword this stuff to be more, should I reword this stuff to be more PC or not? You can't. If you're writing about a time period, you have to hold it. Like, okay, I just did this special that in the first opening line of the special on Showtime that I'm just part of, some really very funny women, more women of a certain age, or more funny women of a certain age, whatever. Look, you'll find it. But the first opening line, I say, you know what the problem is right now with sensitivity? I'm not supposed to have to entertain 7 generations at the same time. 7 generations are alive. Hey, pick a demographic and move towards it. How do I entertain the baby boomers and the greatest generation and millennials and zennials? I'm like, some people were supposed to die, okay? Hysterical-ish joke. But now with Corona, I'm getting all these letters. Or, no, I'm not getting letters. No one's sending me letters.
I'm like, you're getting letters?
Yes,
wow.
I'm getting letters. It's a weird thing. The Pony Express guy stops off. I'm getting these emails and tweets and text. That's horrible. How's she gonna? It's not in live time. This is live, but that was taped in October, and it shows up now. I'm not psychic. I wish I was. Then we would. I'd have found a way to have my hair dyed completely for the next 2 months.
Oh my God, I'm struggling so bad. Actually, getting ready for the show, I thought, oh, this is not.
You look amazing.
Oh, this is not. Oh, this is smoke and mirrors. If you saw me in person, you'd be like, oh God, she needs help.
No, you're amazing. Somebody's gonna send me a letter. Thank you. Please, somebody send me a letter.
I want to ask you about the power struggle in the home. Has there been a power struggle in the home during the pandemic? Now that you guys, I mean, I know you guys spend a lot of time together.
There's always a power struggle, but the key is that it really goes back to, I love that line from My Big Fat Greek Wedding, you just got to let them. It's the woman that turns the neck.
Right.
There's always a power struggle. That's how relationships are. I think that whether it's a friendship, a lover, a partner, a husband or wife, a child, right. There's always a dynamic that there's always a 60-40 going on. For anyone to ever say something is 50-50 is a liar. That's someone who doesn't have successful relationships.
Yeah, I agree.
It's never a 50-50 partnership. Someone always, now that's fluid, or mostly me, but whatever. Thank you.
What has surprised you? Has anything surprised you truly about what's going on right now? I mean, that's a stupid question. I'm sure a lot.
I got a call from my agent telling me don't expect to work for the rest of the year. I think that was heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. I don't know what else to give. And although this is amazing, stand-up, like sex, is meant to be with other people.
Yeah.
It's not, It doesn't work this way. So that bothers me. I mean, I like I said, I'm blessed that I got some of my content out all within that month.
And we want to talk about that before we end. Where can all of these followers follow you? So let's tell them that.
First of all, you're going to come see me live. That's what you're going to do for me.
Right.
When I co-appear at the Canyon Club or one of their clubs, wherever we are, we're going to do that. We're totally going to do that. Hey, Petey Pablo. But listen, you just go see. You can go to the Way After School special. Do that for those
special. Kids. Finding the Funny.
That's great. That's on iTunes and I don't know where it is. It's everywhere.
A certain age. That's
hilarious. Women of a Certain Age is on Showtime. HBO has Everybody Wants to Be Italian. I don't know. Prime has Finding the Funny. I've got a lot of content out there. It's just
you do. I was having a lot of fun over the last few days. Really
catching
up on all. Oh my god. I was sending shit to my family, to my sisters. I'm like, oh my god, you got to see. That's why I texted you.
Can I tell you something?
When you said, I wish I had the confidence of a prostitute with no teeth.
A no-tooth hooker.
Oh my god.
A no-tooth hooker. That's based on a true story. That's an early morning walk in Vegas.
I spit out my eggs this morning when I heard that. That was fucking hilarious.
Thank you. Well,
listen, before you go, I want you to meet Gus. He's the general manager and my co-producer, and we don't have masks on, but we have been quarantining together, and he loves you.
Hi, Gus. I love you. Thank you for seeing the star and the shine that Antoinette has. Thank you very much. That's amazing.
You're very welcome. And I was saying to Gus yesterday, my Chardonnay. Gus.
Look at this glass. Does it look like I should be in Dynasty or something?
It looks so like.
Does anybody have a show?
Like an old-fashioned rock glass. What were we talking about? Oh, the Wall of Fame went up yesterday here, and it's like, God, how many names on it?
Over 300 names, bands that have played here, comedians that have played here. We've got Don Rickles. What's that?
I played there.
I know. I feel like your name might be on it. Honestly,
probably not. Everybody seems to forget me. It's the weirdest thing.
We'll make sure you're on there.
Now we can't wait to have you back, Tammy.
Thank you. I would love to. I mean, listen, I'm ready. And I'm at a weird place too, because I have to work all my new stuff out. Like it doesn't. People go, well, just do it. No, I have to get on stage. I need the people as much as they need me. We're gonna have fun. It's gonna work. This is gonna be better than ever because we all have this bonding thing where we've been separated by all these different problems. This is a bonding. There's not going to be anything that we can't say. We all went through quarantine.
I know.
Right?
And the whole world did at the same time, which is stunning. It's never happened before. And it's really I think it's really woken up the whole world to each other. So for me, there's so many positive takeaways. But I will say this, because we're going to end soon, the whole Canyon Club is being renovated. And we're looking to, as soon as the doors open, we are going.
Oh, that's awesome.
And you're heading out west.
Because I get to wear gloves and masks, and I've skied a lot of people for years, so it's wonderful now for me. I can just be the person I always was.
I love it, girl. It's such a pleasure.
I love you, Gus. Thank you. I will see you soon.
Absolutely. I love you so much. And kiss Luca, squeeze Luca James, and thanks for coming on, Sam.
I love you. I'm proud of you. Stay strong.
I'm proud of you too.
We're going to do something together.
Yep. Looking forward to it.
All right. Bye, baby.
Bye, baby.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you all.
Woo! Guys, thanks so much for all of the comments, and thanks for tuning in. And I'll announce the next guest. I already know who it is, but we'll announce it next week, in the beginning of the week. And thank you so much for tuning in. Antoinette and friends, Gus in the house.
We'll make it work next week.
Love you all. Thank you.